Welcome back to Kevin's European Garage, and I finally got some hardware that I've been needing desperately for a while now for my 996 over here to put the suspension in, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. So last time I left off with the 996, what ended up happening was I decided I was going to pull out the front strut and start taking a look at the struts, making sure everything was tight. So when I did, I actually ended up damaging one of the studs, and that's what it looked like after I was done. So I needed to get new ones. And then that started a little fiasco over here. So I ordered some new ones, and the post office lost them. So it ended up taking about 2 weeks to come from the manufacturer. And then, unfortunately, the ones that they sent me were the wrong size, so that didn't really help me out very much. So by the time I got there and got to me and everything, we're talking about almost 3 weeks later. And then, so I had to go out and source some new ones. I ended up ordering something that looked like this. And this size wasn't quite exactly the same as this. The knurled diameter was slightly bigger on this one. And also the base of the stud too is slightly wider. So what I ended up having to do is end up opening the hole just slightly over here with just a file, just to make it a little bit bigger. And then I took the stud and I just ground this thing down a little bit just so I made it fit in there. And then the other thing I had to do is, since the hole was smaller than what this was calling for, I ended up having to open this thing up just ever so slightly with a drill bit. I didn't have to open it up much. It was just a little bit, and then I was able to press it in. So now I got the strut top plate back to normal again with some studs, some good studs, and some hardware. This one got damaged slightly from taking off the factory nuts, and so, but I was able to clean this one up and straighten it out with a die. It wasn't that big of a deal. But almost a month later, I finally got the hardware again, so now I can try to get this car back up and going and get it on the road. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back on the strut over here, and then I'm going to adjust the preload and then put this one back in. And I'm setting it up so that the camber is right in the middle, because this car with a slotted top, you can get almost enough camber for the street. Okay, these are pretty tight now, and I double checked to make sure that this whole assembly up here was tight, and it is. So now the next thing to do is make an adjustment and set up the preload on the spring. So when I took this apart, I just measured out the distance between here, and it was just over 1 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to tighten that up now. So right now I'm at 1.5 inches, so I got a little ways to go. Just taking out all the play that's in here. There's just a little bit of play left. All right, that looks pretty good. There's no more play left in there. We'll take a little quick measurement again. So we just got a little bit more to go. It's 1.73 of an inch. .79 of an inch. That's pretty good. This is tight. I can't really compress it. Maybe just a little bit. Let's give it one more. Yeah, that's good right there. Lock it down. And we'll double check it once in the car. Right here should be 1.81 of an inch, and this is good. So now I can put this back into the car. And what I'm going to do with this one is I still got the problem that I am still trying to figure out with the Rattle is, and you know, like I've changed everything in here. I'm almost wondering if I got a problem with the sway bar, even though it's all new bushings and everything. I'm just going to disconnect the sway bar completely and then drive around like that for a little bit and see if that makes a difference. So when I put these things together, I'm not going to be connecting up the sway bar. Not enough reach. Alright. Just gonna put the nut on now. I'll torque it down later. Alright. I'll double check the torque later, and now I'll connect everything up back underneath. Okay, so it's day 2 now. Yesterday I managed to get the tire on there, and I did some work over on this side, but it's just it's a little close over here, so it's kind of hard to film something. So what I ended up doing was I took the strut down. I just kind of lowered it down on there. I just made sure that the strut top was tight. It's tight, so that wasn't my problem. Like I was thinking maybe possibly. So I'm thinking kind of maybe. The only thing that's left is a sway bar. I'm just thinking that maybe the bushings aren't 100% right. Maybe I'm got a little bit smaller bushing in there, and then maybe from just going over bumps, rattles around in there or something like that, or something's going on. But my inspection is overdue on the car, so to keep it registered, I got to bring it to get inspected. So I'm not actually going to be doing any running around with the sway bar disconnected just yet. So I just got to put this thing back together, and I have to swap out the lower control arm, and I'll put back in the one with the urethane bushings in and take out the one that I put in there just as a test to see if that was a possible cause too. So that's what I'm going to do today. And these things feel tight. And these are brand new. Well, relatively brand new. It's spinning. All right. So this is that new control arm. That didn't work. So I'm gonna put back in the urethane. Come on, get in your hole. Why ain't you getting in your hole? You're not all the way in. There we go. You have one job to do, just get in your hole. There we go. Yay. All right. Up. At least we're gonna have to lower this down just a little bit, just so I can get the off of a turn on that. And unfortunately, I can't really torque it. It might just be it's tight enough. I think that's pretty tight. Almost burst the blood vessel. Try to tighten it down. I think we're good. and a new clip to replace the broken one. Now it's the ball joint. So this one is over here is supposed to get torqued to 89 foot-pounds. This one is 118 and the ball joint is 55. So I'm gonna torque the ball joint now. It's make it a little awkward. If I didn't have the tie rod connected, it would be a little bit easier. All right. That's 55. You're only supposed to do one click, but whatever, two. All right, next is 118 on this guy. 118. Okay, so now I can put the tire on it and then lower it down. She's finally back on the ground. It's been well over a month since she's been up in the air like that, just waiting. So before I do anything else, I'm gonna give her a quick oil change, and we'll be putting some mold tool in there, and then I'll take her out for a spin. And I don't know, like I said, I went through everything, tightened up everything again, checked the upper strut mount tops, which I didn't do last time, and I'm gonna see what happens. Then take her for her inspection, and then if the sound is still there, try removing the sway bar and see if that quiets it down. After that, I really don't know what else I could possibly do. So I've removed everything out of the trunk, all the panels, made sure the battery's tight and everything. So hopefully I'll have something for you, for myself or something. But I should have something. All right, so I'm out for my first test drive since I put it back together. So far, it seems to be pretty quiet. I don't really hear anything abnormal yet. That is, let's see what happens as I continue to drive it. I got to drive around for a little while anyways, because I got to let the thing pass the readiness test because I drained the battery. So it's going to be a little while before I can even take it to get inspected. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll just keep on driving it and see what happens. So I took the car to get inspected. It failed inspection because I didn't have my reverse lights working. So I got a new switch coming in. And while I was driving around, I spent a lot of time driving it, and I could still hear the rattles going on in this thing. But the thing is, it's not consistent. So some bumps, I don't hear anything at all, and sounds great. There's no problems. The car drives great, and it's not an issue like that. And but I'll go over a few bumps, and I'll hear a little bit of something, and then I'll go over some, and I don't hear anything at all. And I'll drive around, I hit a couple larger bumps, hear nothing at all, and then all of a sudden I go up over just a little bit of uneven surface, and I hear something. So the thing is that I also heard that inside the fuel pump, there's a ball that's inside there that kind of could potentially rattle up and down. Unfortunately, I have to wait until I drain the tank a little bit. I got a full tank of gas in here right now, so I got to wait a little bit before I can actually do anything with that. So that's something I'm going to take a look at because I really don't see anything. But so the next time around, I'm going to change that switch for my reverse lights that are on the transmission. I'm still going to check to make sure that the sway bar isn't making any noise. So I'm going to disconnect the sway bar and drive it around like that, just in case, I got new sway bar links on there. I got new bushings, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I could have something happening when there's a lot of pressure on it. So I'm going to try that anyways, just to see what's going on. And that'll be in the next video. So thanks for watching Kevin's European Garage. Please subscribe, like my video, and I'll see you again soon.